quorum, so we'll do it at
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
What would you like to do with the consent agenda?
I move approval. Second?
All in favor?
Sorry.
We'll come back to the next upcoming select board meeting. We're going to make a decision, I think, at the end of this meeting, when we're going to schedule the next one, depending on how far along we get with what's on the agenda. Is that okay?
Yeah, seems like a smart thing.
Any select board comments, announcements?
No comments?
And we will get right into this. And business item number 1, policy on treasurer disbursement warrants proposed renewal. I think that's Julie, no?
We do it every year.
This is just routine.
Yeah, this year, there are 2. The one that you normally do is to allow one select board member to sign payroll. This year I added another policy that would allow one select board member to sign off on state fees if it's necessary. And Julie can choose to use that policy or not.
We used to have that in the past.
Yeah, just in case.
I guess
I noticed you do the end of the year state fees, and I thought you.
Well, they do it every week. For the month of April report.
Yeah,
So,
so
yeah.
it could be convenient.
Yes.
Any discussion among the board?
I move that we accept it as presented. Both policy changes.
I second that. All in favor?
That was a minute.
Sorry. It's okay. Do we vote on the amendment?
Yes.
All in favor of making sure that we add both? Can someone second that?
Second.
All in favor?
Yeah.
Business item 2, payroll service update. The treasurer will provide an update on the process of engaging Bangor Payroll to perform payroll services for all our staff employees. That is true.
Well, there really isn't much to update. That definitely did not happen the end of the second quarter, like I had hoped. The school is a little nervous about going forward, so we have to get a school that does do payroll, use a payroll service, them to talk to.
What's their hesitation?
Their Tyler, what is it, that program?
Just the unknown.
Yeah, the unknowns, and Tyler's telling them that they can't do it. They'll probably have to do a journal entry, I'll have to do a journal entry, but if I had access, I could do the journal entry for them as well.
Do you know another school that has this?
I talked to Bruce Friday afternoon, and I actually talked to Bobby, who does the audit at the school, and she said it's a great idea. And I think she said Bangor School does payroll, but I haven't had a chance to contact them.
So follow up and report at next meeting, you think?
Possibly. Depends on when your next meeting is.
Okay.
We have a meeting next week, hopefully, with Michaela at Bangor Savings to get update.
Bangor Savings is ready to go. I mean, the Bangor.
They still have some questions too, from what I understand.
Okay.
So moving forward slowly, but not at the pace that we had hoped for. Tyler actually told Emily that she would have to do 60 journal entries every time she did a payroll. We don't think that's true, but that's the information that's, has her concern about moving forward.
That would concern me too, but the view of the concern that was raised several months ago by a retiring employee about procedures, misunderstandings in terms of benefits, would be useful for them.
And a payroll service would definitely address any questions that we have about internal controls of the school and separation of duties, because it would
Right.
break that off too.
They would just have to give me time cards. So it would be a big relief for them.
Right.
And it would be a big relief for me for the quarterly reports and the end of the year.
How many corrections do you make?
Too many.
So realistically, this would be nice if we could get this going before the school year starts again.
It would be nice to get it complete. I'd like to switch over at a quarter, so I was hoping to have it done by now because it's busy the next few months, but I'd like to have it in place by.
Would River's office, would Bobby talk to the school and say, yes, it's a good idea? Was she, when they did the audit?
She may.
Yeah.
And since we're on that word, the audit, it's the school, but it's because of all the money they're getting and all the reporting they have to do. It's not only our school,
Yeah.
all schools are behind with, it's all the reporting.
Is that most of the,
For the ARPA money? Is that the
That and
fund?
free lunch and they get a lot of free money and stuff. She said it is a lot of reporting.
Right.
so again, it makes sense if they have all that to deal with, not to have to deal with payroll.
Like to get the audit done first.
Is the audit scheduled?
I don't believe so.
And that may be because everybody else is, it's gonna be the same as every other year, it's gonna be.
Yeah, we still don't have the final audit.
I mean, they have our stuff is all done, but we won't have our final audit because we have to include the school.
Right. Okay.
But I did ask Bobby to reach out to Emily.
Awesome.
We'll have her include the payroll service in that request.
Business item 3, personal property tax collection request to abate. I don't think I need to, a legal opinion from the town attorney regarding collection of personal property that has been outstanding for an extended period of time is provided for review. We haven't followed correct procedures to collect personal property taxes for several years, so the possibility of getting this money collected is nil. So, administration recommends that all outstanding balances prior to 2019 be abated. This recommendation is supported by the town auditor. And then there's a list of all the accounts on here and the totals.
I guess, what's our procedure moving forward to stay on track?
Well, our procedure moving forward, and I want to point out that all of these procedures, they haven't been followed since before Julie ever became tax collector. So
Right.
it's just something that this town and a lot of other towns do not follow through with. Moving forward, I would recommend that we go ahead and file the liens with the Secretary of State. Otherwise, we don't have any legal standing to correct.
And a 2-year statute of limitations and 6 years
Yeah.
to file, so we've done.
Yeah, so this list that I provided you with, that's just based on Sally's understanding of the law And that anything beyond 6 years, forget about it, basically. Julie may have some other recommendations that would encourage you to abate more than the accounts that I have highlighted.
So what are, like, so for example, on Ambrose, Merrill Ambrose, they're, let's say minuscule amounts, $29.52. What is that? What did we not collect on?
Tools.
Tools.
And he's been out of business for years.
Cash register, computer.
So, I mean, there's a ton here that are like
And
minuscule amounts. So we should,
He
if
never-
they're out of business, I think we should write it off current and be done, instead of trying to, if they're legitimately out of business, keeping them for 6 years means we're gonna be doing this again and again and again for the next
Right.
6 years.
And this isn't the first time I've come to the board.
No, but I
Years,
also
I
think,
mean, years ago with a different board.
but I also think going forward, it took Merle a long time to get out of business, so if we file those abatements when they sell the business, we should be able to get that money.
Of course, but if they're, yes, but if he's legitimately not physically in
Well, we're
business anymore.
saying we want to abate all of these, because we don't have any legal grounds to collect.
Right, we should abate the next 4 for Merrill Ambrose, because if he's out of business, that's just gonna stick on our books.
That's true too.
And I think that's probably wise.
I mean, so that's right, I don't necessarily want to vote on this, I want to take a look at who's in business, who's not in business. And maybe we talk about it at the next meeting, because if truly, if Ambrose is done, the whole.
I don't think we do that, because most of these are not in business.
Right.
I think we do them all or none. Yeah.
And I think Julie can help you to understand who's still around and who's not.
Yeah, but looking at these, most of them are not, they're either dead or out of business.
And what the motion.
Yeah, but if she could tell us that tonight, great, or if not, let's look at it collectively.
I know,
There's no, I don't see any point in prolonging the agony. If we set a date and we make the motion that the businesses that are no longer functioning as businesses, those taxes are also abated, then that takes care of that. Julie can figure out who's in business or not, and
who's deceased or not.
who's dead.
And then we can go ahead and prepare the abatement
Yeah.
for the next meeting.
That's what I'm saying, tell us where we are,
Yeah.
if they're not in business, write it past up to current,
I
not
would-
just to,
I would like to print like Ambrose Auto, the account,
yep,
and have you guys sign off as
Yep.
that as the abatement.
yeah,
And it will have the total amount, all the years, everything.
because I presume Ambrose Auto's not getting a 2023 bill because they're not in business, even though they got one in 2022.
They shouldn't get, yeah.
No.
So anyone who's on here that has a 2022 or earlier year, that's not in business, that we should just prepare a full write-off instead of prolonging.
It's a great time to clean the slate with the rebound and everything. Let's just have a solid jumping off point.
2 weeks ago would have been better before the
Yeah,
But I do want to point one out.
yeah.
Computer science,
Which one's? $3,600?
yeah, that's part of a Betty program, and it never should have got a bill.
Okay.
And those, the 4 under there, one of the selectmen might be able to help us, it's freezes at the store.
Who is it?
It's freezes at the store down,
These are freezers?
Energy North.
Which one is it?
But does Energy, yeah, Conoco, does Energy North lease those freezers?
No.
So, that must be looked into.
They do not lease the freezers, they lease the coolers, there's a difference.
Okay. This said it was freezers,
Okay, so.
4.
So, and this is at the school?
No,
it's
that's
a
store.
Oh, store.
They lease the freezer?
That's what it says.
Okay.
So I'm putting that one on your lap.
Okay. He came down and took inventory, the new,
Mhm.
when they did a rebound. He should have the most up-to-date Well, he might not put the person.
Unless he put the personal,
Okay, I'll get it for you.
and this may be under Energy North. It may be duplicated, I don't know. I can look into that further.
Yeah, I would, because I don't know this ever being called that.
Lots of times, like a credit card machine. Yeah. That's considered personal property, and whoever leases it, if you lease a credit card machine, the company pays the personal property, but we do not assess personal property under $1,000. It's not worth it.
Yeah, makes sense.
Julie, what year would you propose the cutoff to be? The 2019?
I don't want to propose a year.
Now she wants to go through it and propose by names based on whether they're dead.
Their statuses.
But 2019 for those that are making.
At least, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, probably any window where we can still file a lien would be
Right.
And,
reasonable.
but then, and that's a UC, and a lot of people don't do it because this isn't work, but it costs a dollar.
Yeah.
But if we, can we file, do they have to all be filed individually, or can we file 4 or 5 years at once?
No, you cannot file them all at once.
So for each year we have to file? We can't,
Yeah, when the lien is, when it becomes at the point where it becomes a lien, that's when you file it.
How many years of non-payment?
2, isn't it?
Same as
Six.
yours.
A year,
First
a year.
a year.
But for one, it has to be before commitment
Right.
of a year.
Okay.
So I'll file real estate tax liens in August before September commitment date.
Okay.
and does the lien become part of the lien fee becomes part of what they owe as well, so we're,
So if you can't collect $32, how are you gonna collect
Right.
$64?
well, it just seems that they've historically not paid it, for whatever reason. And they've, it just.
And it never changed because they never turned in their declaration page.
I think we should file liens on all of them, if they're there.
Well, I think we should too, because if we don't, then we
Is it-
lose any legal standing.
Well, you're also creating a precedent of not paying.
Right,
I don't think we should do that, and if they are responsible for the cost,
and I think it's $10 and you can do it electronically now, which is significantly
No.
easier process than it used to be.
Some of these go under names, and then some are their business name.
Right,
we've got like Ray Bork and then Bork Ray,
yeah,
and it's the same person, one's.
Well, this right here, White Pines and John, the same person.
John has Kara's building,
Wow.
not
You
like
guys,
ours.
they changed their name here in 2019, 2020, it became they just reversed the name.
So New Meadows Autos was owned by somebody else,
Where
not
are you seeing this New Meadows?
Right here.
page 3.
New Meadows.
Down at the bottom.
And I see that top here, you got New Meadows Auto Sales.
New Meadows Auto Sales, that doesn't make any sense, that would be,
It's Bonziani now.
but how is New Meadows Auto Sales a store?
That's business.
No, that's a different account.
Okay, I thought you were saying,
Now, that has nothing to do with you, it's across the street.
okay. I thought so, I'm like,
But that's sold, and they still use the name, but it's a different owner.
okay.
I sent them the bill, they bought the name.
They're on this page, not page.
So do we need a motion?
yes.
Authorize Julie to pursue the, those bills that can be pursued and to prepare abatements for those that are too old to be
My
pursued?
only concern is legally, if we forgive,
If they're dead, we can't collect, we shouldn't forget anything other than that.
but they all have estates, so I'm just wondering,
But you can't.
I've tried for years to get these. I spent a lot of time
I know, so I'm just concerned.
Quite a few years ago, writing letters to each one of them.
I mean, do we really wanna go after $1.79?
How much is it gonna cost?
My point exactly.
How much is a certified mail now?
In your time,
I think the best thing you can do is just allow Julie's discretion in preparing the abatements right now. And then at the next meeting, when you actually entertain the abatements, you can decide whether or not they're appropriate.
Okay, so you might wanna decide a dollar amount too. Is it worth going after whatever? I mean, once you figure out the fees and stuff, is it worth going after $30?
Well, can you, I'm guessing we could go after them all at one lump sum, all up to 6 years, but when I read the documentation from Sally, if we can bulk them together, that.
Yeah, but the 6 years only applies if we
Put a
file
lien, and that's what we're doing. So we can, then if we're filing a lien,
We're not filing a lien now.
We can't
We're
file a
doing
lien on
abatements.
something 6.
if we're not abating, we're filing a lien. Is that correct?
If it's within the window, yes.
Okay, so which is a 6-year window. So then we can.
No.
No, it's a
2-year.
2-year.
You can, Sally, I read Sally, it said it back to 6 years.
Civil lawsuits are 6 years.
If you
The
file
other
a
is 2
lien.
years.
Because we can still bulk them together, so that 179 gets added to the $44.
If we can, but if it's gonna cost each one, why would we do that?
So say total 28,000, it's not worth it. You know, it's
It's
gonna
not even
cost
close
you
to
to go
that.
through.
We'll probably be at like $3,000 versus 28,000. Because we can't go after anything that's 6 years, older than 6 years.
We can't go after anything that we haven't filed a lien on after 2 years of non-payment.
So this is,
Am I understanding that correctly?
Yes.
Yes. So anything that's worth pursuing, going back 2 years, 2021, would be worth discussing.
21 is too late to file a lien.
right, so on the.
So start with 22.
We have time.
22. Yeah,
We're putting all this work on her for very little money.
right.
But it's a precedent. That's the problem.
Well, that's why we need
I
to
think we need
use
to put
starting
a
point.
line in the sand as a precedent.
I
and
think we
say,
start with a new date, 2023. I don't see, when you look at these, you got 30,
Yeah, this,
it's minimal. You're lucky it's gonna be $1,000.
But I still think we should just do it. We put a line saying,
Why
as of
would we
20,
spend more than we're taking?
it gets tacked on to what they owe. We're not gonna spend it. They have to pay the $10 plus what they owe.
if they collect.
Assuming that they
if we.
But we've never filed a lien. Once there's a lien on their property, they can't do it, they can't sell it, that lien comes back to us. It's a lien that is not erased. I just think we need to put a line in the sand and
I do too, and I say 2023. Why do we wanna go back?
next year's gonna be the same $44.
I agree with 22. If we haven't done it before, people need to have the time to say, oops, I better do that this year, because this year there's consequences. And,
I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
For 22?
oh, yes. So,
And I can get most of those paid.
And I think we could put something on the website that the town of West Bath is strongly going to, I don't know how you want to word it.
Pursue collections
Yeah, personal.
of
So I can send a 22 letter to the people that have 22 outstanding.
yeah,
This is what's due, pay before this date, or I file an AUCC.
I think that makes the most sense, because
Yeah.
I hate to see you do all this work when the time is running out. It's 2023 already.
I move that we authorize Julie to conduct the program that she has just outlined and prepare possible abatements for all those properties that need legal abatements.
I second that. All in favor? So we got about 9 that you're gonna try to collect. Which makes sense, because we can't collect the 2021.
Well, I'll let them know, if they have 21 due too, I'll let them know.
Yeah, you wouldn't tell them, you don't have to pay that.
Like West Bath Auto, I'll send them a letter and let them know. We
Yeah,
have 2 years,
because they're a current business in town, and they should be.
and I'll get Jones to see.
And I will get you that information you want on your members.
Okay. I'll double check it too, see if it's not duplicated.
Business item 4, policy on town committee procedures, proposed amendment. The red line version includes amendments to the policy recommended by the town attorney. Most of the proposed changes are
Grammatical. Thank you.
or for clarification. Other terminations have revised language that describes the process for terminating a committee member's appointment. Section XI, select board liaison, has been removed altogether. A clean copy reflecting all proposed changes is included for comparison.
I move approval as presented.
Second it.
All in favor? Any discussion? All right. Business item 5, select board rules of procedures, proposed amendments. The red line version includes recommended amendments to the policy. Most of the proposed changes are grammatical or for clarification. Section 11 was added to clarify the appropriate process for communication with legal counsel. A clean copy reflecting all proposed changes is included for comparison.
I move approval as amended.
I second it. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor? Business item 6, job description revisions, reviews, and proposed adoption. Job description for the treasurer and tax collector and for the town clerk, register of voters, and public access officer were revised. Revisions reflect the current duties associated with these positions. Duties that were performed by the assessment agents in the past are now included in the job descriptions for these positions and the town administrator's position. Minor amendments to the town administrator's job description are also proposed.
I move approval as proposed.
I second it. Any discussion?
I don't think I can do the job description.
You don't think you can do a good job description?
I don't think I can, I've never got a chance to talk to Christine.
What's your concern?
I don't think I can do personal property. I don't think I have time for that.
Well, I think when we put me in the position of deputy treasurer, and we're sharing responsibilities with that, the goal is to free up some of your time and improve our processes so that we can absorb those extra duties. And I've seen it work successfully in the past. And if we need to make tweaks along the way, we can certainly do that, and we can assist each other with the assessing duties.
And that should probably be reflected in the description.
It's something that we need to feel our way on. Because
I don't feel comfortable with it yet.
Well, I think if she has a concern, it should be reflected, it would be shared with your new title as well.
Julie, where is it on this?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know anything about personal property, I don't know any codes.
Well, Parker Appraisal is going to help us set up our processes, so you don't need to know that going in. It's something new that we're learning. And basically, it's not assessing personal property, it's tracking it, which you really do anyway as tax collector.
I found it. Christine.
Yeah, so I think it may appear that it's something more than it is, but it's basically just tracking personal property.
So, well, I think that based upon your assessment that you're going to be assisting with the additional title, I think that should be reflected in here.
It is.
It is. It's reflected in the amended job description.
I was very careful about including all of that information in the job descriptions, and I shared them a couple of weeks ago.
Christine,
Pardon me?
it's in yours, yeah.
Yeah. It's all in there. And, you know, it's important that we make some changes moving forward and that we develop a plan now that we don't have an employed assessing agent.
Yeah, but
The
that's,
suggestions that, or the recommendations that I have in these descriptions are very reasonable.
but where we've removed an employee and that the contract individual has not taken on that same
No, the
responsibility.
contract individual does not absorb all of the duties, The contract assessor values property. They come every year, they do pickup work based on our building permits. They help us put plans in place to take care of the other pieces of what would normally be the assessing agent's position. This is all very doable.
Is this, just for my knowledge, is this a software program where information is going to be?
It is not a software
It's not
program.
something.
Basically, it's gonna be an Excel spreadsheet or some other tracking mechanism to just track personal property.
We don't track that in the new software?
For tax collection purposes, we do. The assessing is a little bit different. We're gonna have to,
I'm thinking an Excel, just an Excel program doesn't sound like automated to me.
this is something that Parker Appraisal has already said, they would help us set up the process. This is what we need in order to move forward effectively. And if I am responsible for the processes in the office, which I am asking you to allow me to move forward with this plan. And then if it does not work, we can course correct. But we need a plan right now to move forward.
I don't
This is
think
my
an
plan.
Excel program is an automated
It
program.
doesn't need to be an Excel program. It needs to be a program that works, and I'm just suggesting that as one way of tracking things.
So if things didn't go well, we could later maybe look
Of
at.
course, there's
some kind of
always time to
program.
course correct.
This, so,
And this is the first I've heard of this, so I'm not prepared to speak on these concerns.
Well, maybe we shouldn't implement this today.
No, we absolutely need to implement it. I need this to run the office effectively. And if it does not work, we can fix it.
and that should be fixable. That we are in a different situation, and so we've got to set things up so that things will work. If they don't work, we fix it. This is not rocket science, it's a new system.
Yeah,
We
and
don't
I'm
even know what
asking,
the new system is going to be as yet, but there will be one. So,
and I'm asking you for an opportunity to allow me to implement a new system.
Sure,
which
with a
is-
caveat, I think that, we've always put things on the schedule without a determined date of review, so I'd like to say that by October 1st, if things aren't working, we reevaluate. We have a set reevaluation time so that if we see a flaw in the process, we take a look at it
when is personal property usually dealt with?
before October 1.
April 1st.
So why wouldn't, and I'm just asking, why wouldn't Julie, if you try this and it's totally foo-bah and it's not working, you wouldn't talk to Christine and Christine would bring it to the board and would look for another plan?
Let's move ahead, let's give a timeline on what the process is.
Well,
It
I
doesn't-
think we need to let Christine and Julie, I think sometimes as selectmen, we step right into the middle and we don't give them a chance.
Yeah, this is administration. I'm responsible for administration. If this doesn't work, it's on me. What I'm asking for is an opportunity to institute this plan. And if it does not work, we will come up with another plan, which is what every other business does.
My major concern is that Julie's taking the hit for the responsibility of it.
Carly has a significant amount of responsibility, and so do I.
It's being discussed.
Carly is responsible for real estate.
That's not personal property, we're adding something that our assessing agent did.
No, you're not understanding. Carly has not done the real estate before. This is new for Carly. Okay? So Julie's not the only one taking on additional responsibility.
I was just saying, I don't feel like I have the time to do it. But I guess
And you may not.
if I don't, I'm gonna tell you.
Right, you may not.
That's what we want to hear.
But we don't know if we don't, David.
Why don't we pass it, try it, see what works, if you're gonna tweak it later on. Julie will know, Christine will know if it's working or not. Just let them try it. There's gonna be bugs, so let them debug it as they go along. Just get it started.
Yeah, we work with each other every day and we can figure it out.
And I would hope that you guys could talk to one another and say, can't do this. It's not working. I need some
but
more
we need to
help.
give it some time. It's just
Absolutely.
like with the payroll thing. You know, it's gonna take a while to institute, but once we get it going, it's going to be fine. And this is going to be fine too.
And I don't think Christine has any problem telling us, and I don't think you either.
And we don't have any business as a board micromanaging the office. We've got competent professionals, and we've heard the concern.
I guess I misunderstood when we got rid of the assessing agent, that we're paying the same amount to the contract person.
We're not paying the same amount to the contract person, we're paying significantly less.
Be curious to see what that is.
You want to make a proposal?
Well, there
Well,
on the floor.
I move
Okay.
that we accept the,
She moved to approve and you seconded.
Okay. All in favor? Business item 7, purchasing policy discussion. The policy will be discussed with particular attention to section 4, purchase limits, and section 11, public works exemptions and waivers. This policy in its current form is impractical and has not been enforced in its entirety since it was adopted. The current policy is provided for review.
having seen that my name was on this original one, I was fairly new to this business. This was a first attempt to establish a real workable policy, and obviously, particularly in the public works, things have changed considerably in terms of pricing. And so I think we really need to change the purchase limit. And I think, given today's prices, the first cutoff should be $20,000.
If we
Too
change
expensive.
all of these limits, does the wording meet everybody's? Is the policy itself without the limits okay?
I'm okay with the policy as itself, I'm not okay with the $20,000 entry limit.
Christine?
I just want to make sure that when we discuss this policy, that we know where we're focusing. Because I don't want to mix up regular administrative purchases with public works.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you could please be clear about whether you're referring to all of the limits or just the public works limits.
I think we should start with,
I was referring to the public works.
is this distinguished in either
It's not,
section? Yeah.
Public works is section 11.
Okay, so all the rest of it is the office.
And the office, I'll say, I'm not concerned about the limits for the office.
So you're fine with it?
I think that we can work within those limits for the office.
Okay, so go to section 11?
Yeah, I think that's really where you need to focus your energy.
Okay. Thank you.
Because those limits are unreasonable.
Well,
Well, see, in the office,
we can't do anything.
Yeah, and we haven't followed those limits since the policy was instituted.
Well, we tried, but it was a disaster. Steve, do you have any comments, anything you'd like to say before we?
Well, it's very hard to find people to do things at the moment for $5,000.
Right, can't do it.
It's impossible. Nobody does drop what they're doing, and 90% of the people are doing $100,000 jobs now. And they just can't go do a $5,000 job for you. You know, so you wait and then it's finally,
And then it's too late.
doesn't get done.
So let's start with the first one, 0 to 5,000. Public works related purchases that are less than 5,000 are allowed with a detailed invoice and any necessary supporting material submitted to the purchasing agent that shows the service being purchased, identifies the contractor, and states the cost for the work to be performed. The purchasing agent or road commissioner can approve the purchase. In the event the road commissioner or agent officer or subcontractor of the contractor, only the purchasing agent can approve the purchase. What is this part usually used for, and what would the recommendations be?
That was intended for small jobs, like filling in a pothole or something.
A culvert's still under 5,000.
Well,
Dave, you have a question?
I brought this up a couple weeks ago for the board to consider. And my thought of this was, and I'm not speaking for the budget committee, my thought was up to $10,000, let the road commissioner use his discretion to get the jobs done when he can, working with Hill Construction or WAF Construction, Mid-Coast, see if they can do. From 10 to 30, require at least 2 estimates, and they can be verbal, which road commissioner can discuss with the town administration and line them up and get them straight. Above $30,000, ask for a bid.
Does
And
that,
allow the road commissioner a little bit of leeway to get things done.
does,
I think, I fielded 5 or 6 phone calls from residents of this town concerned with their recent bills they've received for their real estate. And I think we need to be cognizant of what our community is feeling and the increases that they're seeing in their taxes right now. And I'm concerned that we turn around and say, okay, now we're gonna take these limits to a different level.
We need to get the work done. We need to get the work done.
The work
And I'm
needs-
hoping that if those 3 companies I mentioned, including Green Construction, wish to do this, they can present the town with a list of what their hourly wages and what certain equipment, a backhoe or front loader or whatever, is charged to the town, so we know the cost going in. But to get this work done, we gotta allow the road commissioner some flexibility to go out
So
and get it
you
done.
want, in the saying here, you want local town contractors.
If at all possible, yes.
At all
And there's
possible.
also more than 3 that live in this town. They should be made available to them too.
Of course it is. I just mentioned those names, but
Examples.
examples. So, is 30,000 sufficient for you to get somebody to do a job? I mean,
I assume, yes, and that would be a fairly decent job. I mean, like, last year we got one of the local contractors to do some ditching down Sabino.
Yeah,
We did a 1/4 mile of road. Cost us $30,000. So there you go.
well, the other thing as I thought about this is that we have a reasonably detailed description in this year's town meeting warrant of the work that was planned to be done. So, in a sense, all of these jobs have already been approved.
Mm-hmm.
So, this gives you the leeway
To hire people to do it.
to get the stuff done.
Correct.
And for all those people, all of us who were surprised and maybe not delighted to find out what the current value of our real estate is, we still need the roads, and that's what we pay for.
Probably would like to have better roads with what we're paying in taxes.
I mean,
pretty well with our roads, considering when you go to the city of Bath or some of the other roads in Brunswick.
Our roads have come a long ways.
Our roads are nice.
And the other thought is, it may not work this way, but if he knew that J.R. Hill could call him up and say, look, I had a job, let's go home for a day. I got a day to work, Steve, you got anything? Steve, maybe that's for $10,000, yes, go do this. It gives him some flexibility. If somebody says, I got half a day or 2 days, what can I do for the town? It helps both parties out.
And I know everybody's tax bills went up significantly, and when I looked at mine, I almost fainted. But so has the price of everything that we're trying to do today. It's just crazy.
So, those tax bills, I thought they were estimates, is those actually?
They are
They are
estimates.
estimates,
Okay.
pretty close to your actual
But-
estimate.
The board hires the road commissioner.
Right.
Let him do his job. If he doesn't, don't hire him, give him a chance to do his job.
Steve, we've asked you to get us a standard on what a road would look like. So when we see things that come in, that we would know what that's supposed to, can you help us with that?
Well, I'll tell you what I've gone forward and done, is I have used raw crew, and I told him I want detailed drawings of ditching, I want detailed drawings of culvert replacement, I want detailed of shoulders. And he's gonna supply us with detailed drawings, so when I want something done, that's the detail. Can't get any simpler than that.
No, it's just, so when we see something, because we don't have your expertise, and we see
Right.
your bids come across, we want to make sure that we're evaluating it even Steven across all.
Well, and you gotta remember, every situation is different.
Right, you can't.
You can
But
use
if the
that,
culvert calls for a certain stone or a depth, or if it's corrugated or not, or whatever we're trying to put in there, we're looking for you to make a standard recommendation of what's best for the community that we can use as a guideline.
Well, he is the road commissioner.
yeah, I thought.
He sets his job
When
now.
you're looking at bids up here, David, he's not sitting with us.
No, but you're relying on his,
He should be.
you're relying on his.
Well, for one thing,
knowledge.
I shouldn't be, if it's a bid that comes in for $15,000, I shouldn't bring it.
No, I'm not
That's what
saying
we're trying to get rid of.
Right.
Now, if we're
So-
gonna do a whole big maintenance of the road, it's gonna cost 50,000-60,000,
Right.
I'd be more glad, and usually
So-
that's all on a blueprint that counts you.
David, you said the first one, 0 to 10,
0 to 10,
and then you said 10 to 30,
10 to 30,
so anything over 30 needs,
the bid process.
Sealed bid or just
Sealed.
gather bids?
Sealed.
Whatever you think,
Anything over 30,
whatever the
sealed
board,
bid.
whatever the board thinks.
Over 30, but from 10 to 30.
10 to 30 was estimates, that you can work with the road commissioner, you can bring this, I
so
got these
nowhere
estimates.
here does it say a sealed bid.
Anything over 20, what is a sealed bid?
Where is it written?
Yeah, that's why it needs to be clarified, Kathy. Because,
It does not say that.
and that makes sense to me that, you know, he has discretion to 10 to 30, he can gather bids. That's the same as administration.
No,
And then over 30 would be a sealed bid
no,
process.
that's not us. That's not.
But it
Stevie.
needs, but it needs to be. Any purchase.
But it's not.
But it's
If we're
not.
gonna put it in, we need to put it in under
Public Works.
page 6.
It needs to be in there. Any bid or,
That is for the town office, so page 6 is where it would need to go.
it needs to be there. Sealed bid. The same language that we have on item D,
Yes.
section,
So you.
page 2, item
Over
D,
30 sealed bid.
needs to be replicated.
Okay.
So we just need to put in this section here.
Yes.
I'd rather we made that figure a bit higher,
No.
given the current cost of things.
Absolutely not. I'm not comfortable going from that.
It's not a question of the comfort of any one of us, it's a question of what do we do to get the business of the town and the roads taken care of in the most expeditious manner.
If I can't do it under $30,000.
I just don't understand why, you know, if you got these limitations and stuff, why did you bother hiring a road commissioner? Why don't you just sit down?
Exactly.
I mean,
I'm comfortable with 50,000. Over 50,000 to win the sealed bid.
Yeah, 50,000 would be the cutoff.
Absolutely.
A sealed bid. Is that-
We're going up 2.5 times our current rate, that's over the top.
And like everything's about 3 times the current rate because I.
We're not saying we can't do it, we're just saying do it as
I
it
just
is.
put a roof on, I just put a window on, and everything was 3 times what I expected to pay.
But we're not saying it's not gonna happen, we're just gonna say it's happening with a sealed bid. We're not saying you can't spend it,
And we
it just
just
has to
get this
follow.
work done, we don't need to take times for sealed bids and this and that.
If I call that cookie, he's got a day off, and I want $60,000 worth of hot top and down. I wanna bring it to you guys and let you know, 95% of the time, we don't get
Right.
that much done. So it's basically, it's 50,000 would work.
50,000 would work for you?
I could get it, like right now, for example, the Birch Point Road, I could put that out to bid. We got $50,000 to spend. Who can do it?
We already have allocated money for that.
Yes, we do.
Exactly, but I still can't just spend it myself.
Yes.
You want me to go out for bid and all this?
Certainly, I think $50,000, which is 2.5 times their current bid spec, is over the top right now.
Well,
Any
and it's-
other,
I'm not asking for any more money, I'm just asking to spend it.
Let's vote on the $50,000.
I have one more thing that I need to address before I forget.
okay.
Change order limits,
Yeah,
please, so that we know who can approve change orders and at what level.
okay, so what do
And
we,
this is specific to public works as well.
what do we need for change orders?
It's $2,000 in the other page. They seem to
Well-
flow in between two documents, but yet they're not
The
tied
change
together.
orders are going to be larger for public
We
works.
have a change order here, but it's not.
Maybe you can help us with
What
that.
I would agree with on that, if any change order goes through the cycle, because we've made a decision and you guys need to know why. Why is it more than what we come up with?
Right.
That way you get your answer.
So if it's $1,000, do you really want to wait for us?
If I can't go to Christine for $1,000
Well,
extra,
that's what I'm saying, we want to.
well, that's what I mean, I'm talking about,
A
put
change
it
order
in.
is a change order, so we need a policy for it.
What would the two of you feel comfortable approving? I mean,
It
because,
all depends if we're doing $100,000 job and it's a bunch of ledge came up, or if we're doing a $5,000 job.
I think it would.
This is municipal we're talking about, we're not talking about going by books, this, we're
My
talking.
opinion
yes,
on an engineered project,
Yeah.
I think that's the simplest project to
Yeah.
look at. On an engineered project that is designed by Pine Tree or other firm, if the engineer says this change order is necessary, I think that we should be able to automatically approve it
yeah,
so that the project can move forward.
that's,
I presume the change order comes with an explanation if the engineer didn't see it.
There's always an explanation.
Well, it needs to be, because
We look at his drawing, we look at him as setting the standard, we should.
we've never approved a change order that didn't have an
So do
explanation.
you have any opinion on the not engineered change order?
On non-engineered projects, I would recommend maybe
5,000?
yeah.
David and Steve, how do you?
I would refer to Steve.
I think that's fine, I mean, you don't know what's there, but if there is something come up really big, I think you guys really need to know about it.
Yeah, and even on an engineered project, I would certainly bring that to you to notify you at the next meeting. But I don't think we should be holding up projects if the engineer says, you know, we need to correct, this is what we need to do.
Yeah, especially if it's October and you hit a ledge and you know you don't have much time left, or you
Hit a pocket of clay that didn't
So,
show up.
I'd like to
in the
just
boys.
give you an example. 2 months ago, whenever went to the town meeting, I went to Rob Drew and I said, look, we gotta get this erosion control fixed down at Earth Point. It's gotta get done this year. So he brought up the papers here, the Army Corps engineer permit expired. So now 2 months has gone by, I still ain't got it.
Yeah.
So, it's just some things, I can't, you find a problem, you get fixed then.
Yeah. So, we're changing the limits to $10,000 for consultation or 5?
10.
$10,000 for consultation. 10 to 50,
No, 30,
10 to 30, right?
And it's,
Is
it's
Paul's
Steve,
recommended?
Stevie's saying 50.
I have 10 to 50.
That's just
With verbal,
Now, we're talking about money we're spending that we've already got for our budget.
right,
I mean,
right, this has already been.
This is
it's not exactly like we're asking for this extra money.
But I've also said there's ways for us to go and do 5 culverts at once, then doing it one at a time, so we don't have to spend the full 50 to get there, and find a contractor that wants to do all 7, to bulk it out. Because I'm trying to save as much money as we can for the
But
town.
these projects are already, that he's talking about.
Not all of them are.
Yeah, but
Not all
most
of
of
them
them
are.
are.
No, we have $100,000 that has not been spoken for. The rest is down to Birch Point.
Well, it's pretty much spoken for, hot dog, but that's why it's in there, it doesn't, people wonder where it goes, but when hot dog bill comes in, you never know what he's gonna change in the next
Right,
6 months, so.
So the other one is over 50? Is that what
and
we're
over
saying?
50 seal bids.
So before we go any further, I probably shouldn't even ask this, but I'm gonna. Is there a way that we can better track what we're spending on roads? And I guess this is a Julie question. Is
I
there
can
one
help with
expense?
that too.
Okay,
Yeah.
so if we will have an expense ledger or something?
Yeah, I mean, we always have the trio reports, but I understand they're difficult to read.
Okay.
We can come up with a different
That would help me.
way of showing
Because
that
our
information.
budget report, I have trouble, I have to go bother Julie every time I need to know.
Yeah.
When are we gonna engage the road software?
Steve, have you checked with that student about,
Jimmy's son, he's
Yeah.
supposed to get, I checked with Julie, and he's supposed to get back to me.
can you try to get a more definite answer on that?
If we can't, won't we just see if I can find someone out there that will, because I definitely, we do need that. that needs to
Yeah,
get
I need
done.
to get going on that.
And
Yeah.
if not, Jamie Wallace told me he might be interested.
Okay.
So I did put
Both
some
engineers though, that
feelers out.
are interested. Both
Yes,
people are interested.
he's a certified engineer, so.
Yeah. And they'll understand what they're looking at. what
Right,
they think.
and they'll know how to, right, the way you should, Jamie would be the best. He's probably gonna cost us a little bit more than what. Yeah, but I think we need to spend the money and get this rolling.
Remind him he's a taxpayer. So he might not charge so much.
Yeah, is that before he sees his tax?
All right, we'll hear a minute.
Okay, so, the public works exemptions and waivers, limits, should be changed to up to $10,000 authorized by the town administrator and the road commissioner. From 10 to 50,000, the limits would be 3, if possible, verbal bids, which would be reported. And then over 50, jobs over 50,000 would be done by sealed bid.
I think
And
that,
change orders for engineered projects, when ordered by the engineer, would be approved by the road commissioner and the town administrator. Non-engineered change orders would be approved by the road commissioner and the town administrator, up to $5,000.
I think I need to amend that it's not if possible for 3 bids. Up to 50,000 should have 3, not bids, 3, we need a request to get 3 possibilities, not if possible.
It would be impossible, because what if one's too busy, this one's too busy, this one's too busy?
Sometimes you
Yeah.
can't get 3.
And I'm sorry, there's a few contractors in the town I'm not going to and ask them, because I don't think they got adequate equipment and stuff to do the jobs.
Right.
Maybe some jobs, yes they do,
Yep.
but up to around $50,000 and stuff like that, it's,
So I would,
Because I think it's about time, availability.
it is.
Maybe-
Because I've gone to Jamie, I've gone to Jerry both.
I think we
ask them if they could do a job for me, and they said,
They may
I
say
can't
no,
touch it
They
for,
should be offered the opportunity, they're taxpayers too.
but they may say
If
no.
they can't, if they don't have the equipment and they
We'll
don't
set
have
us-
the expertise,
We have a stipulation on what our snowplow contract requires, we should then have the same contract stipulation.
no,
Really?
really.
Based upon what determination?
Based upon the determination that the road commissioner knows what the roads are like, because he's been working on them since he was 10.
Has nothing to do with what he knows, but it's what's the equipment that a contractor must have to complete a certain job? We require that for the snow removal.
Yes, because snow removal is a life and death thing.
and if you'd like to give me a bunch of names, Suzanne, I'll be more glad to go through them.
Well, I also think,
Because I can give them all a call, I don't mind asking, 5, 6 people, but I'm not going through and finding these guys that just all of a sudden became a carpenter in one hand, or whatever. So,
And what I'm concerned about is, we have another one of those rainy things, the road is washed out, everybody's gonna be busy. How are you gonna get 3 guys to return a call in a day?
You're not.
So you're not, so that's why I put the, if
did that
possible,
happen
in.
Jay or somewhere?
Hmm?
Did that happen Jay or somewhere? But they don't have
Yeah,
roads or anything?
they wash, bridges wash out. I mean, things happen.
That's the
and you
problem,
need to be able to
because
work.
usually your contractor has already got a problem, and you get rains like that, he's got problems on his own job.
That's right, and so he may not be, or she, may not be able to return a call in a timely manner for an emergency.
Right.
So if we
Have you
leave
got everything you need?
the road commissioner and the town administrator enough discretion and enough budget, then we can have emergencies taken care of, and we already have the authorization for them to consult with each other, consult with anybody that they can get in touch with, if possible, 3 people. If not, things need to be done.
Yeah, just gotta remember, we're not asking for any more money, we're just got the money there, that's asking for an easier way to get help to spend it.
Well, and to make the process clear and usable.
Okay. I second your motion. All in favor? All opposed?
Strongly opposed, not just opposed.
I don't think that needs to go into the records, just opposed.
And I'll make changes and I'll have them
If
to
it's
you at the
from the
next
meeting.
meeting.
Okay.
Because there will be other changes for clarification and grammar, and,
Yeah.
just like the other policies.
Business item 8. Andrew Striving to Kennebec Trail proposed funding application. Oh, that's back to that, okay. There have been ongoing discussions with representatives from the Maine Department of Transportation to gauge the level of interest in pursuing build-out of the trail. In 2014, the Andrews Argon Trail was designated as a trail of statewide significance by Maine DOT. Recent discussions with Maine DOT suggest a renewed interest in pursuing the project. The communities of Bath, Brunswick, and West Bath intend to apply for funding through the Maine DOT Bike Ped Program. The application deadline is July 15th. If the grant is obtained, it will cover most of the anticipated cost of preliminary engineering and determining ownerships of rights of way along the proposed trail. The estimate for this phase of the project is $250,000. Maine DOT requires that communities provide a match of $50,000. The city of Bath and the town of Brunswick each have $20,000 in escrow to cover their portion of the match. The request is for West Bath to contribute a total of $5,000. The remaining $5,000 may be covered by the Kennebec Estuary Land Trust help. If we are successful in obtaining the grant, payout of the match will not be until January 2024. The Androscoggin to Kennebec Trail timeline is included for reference.
I heard from Ruth Enright today, she's with Kennebec Estuary Land Trust, and she said that other $5,000 is something that they can help us get. So our contribution would be $5,000 to allow the project to move forward. I think it's a deal.
I think it's a deal too. We had great support from participants in the audience when we were discussing this last time. David?
The only question I would have is, who owns the trail? Who maintains it? Sand, salt, mowing?
If this moves forward and we're successful with the grant, those are the next questions that we're gonna
Well, that's
have
my,
to answer.
that's my,
Yeah,
concern.
and we talked about that at our last meeting, and we're having another meeting tomorrow.
and what
Because I
it
see
is.
that Brunswick
Yeah,
is always salting and sanding that. their-
Well, it's also more than trimming the bushes, trees, everything, it's not just a
That's a big
one-time
difference.
deal.
yeah. And both communities understand that West Bath doesn't have the same capacity or resources.
Or mileage.
So they're talking about, possibly if we could gather volunteers to maintain the trail, or if the public works from the city of Bath and the town of Brunswick are gonna take it over.
So most of
But
it's
that
gonna be along-
decision is
I realize that,
way
it's
out,
one step at a time, but that's
Yeah.
my major concern going forward.
because none of this can happen without DOT support.
But maybe most of ours, from what I'm seeing and understanding, is gonna be along Route 1, so maybe DOT will.
Just a thought, just a thought.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think we had too much support. People were really, really interested in this, really, really wanted to do that, so,
No, I think this step is important to do,
yeah.
but we just gotta follow this closely.
Yes.
You gotta remember, we got a bridge would have to be built to connect, and that's a.
yeah, that's one of DOT's primary concerns is,
They don't want them attached, right?
I'd hate to think about how money that would cost in this day and age, but thank God it's not our responsibility. So, do you need a motion for us to,
I move that we pay the remaining, the $5,000 contribution to extend the Van Scoggin to Kennebec Trail.
second, all in favor?
What was the date when they need the 5,000 if it goes forward?
A week, roughly.
Application deadline, the 15th of
yeah, the
July.
application deadline is the
Okay.
15th, but the payout wouldn't be until January if we're successful.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, I'm going to sleep here. Town administrator's report.
Did we read it?
Everybody approved.
Okay, I have a brief update on Main Gravel and West Bath Parking LLC. In January of this year, a new staff attorney joined, Jensen Baird, and that staff attorney brought with him two clients, Main Gravel and West Bath Parking LLC. So when I spoke with the town attorney, she said that there's a possibility that we would have to have a conflict waiver signed by both parties before she could advise us on anything related to this application. She contacted me this afternoon and said that they're still working on it, getting in touch with Ted and, seeing if we can move forward with it. If that's not a possibility, the town is going to need to find other counsel. But we're not there yet. I'll update you when I have more information.
What's the likelihood that it'll be resolved by the planning board meeting? A week from
Oh,
next
Tuesday?
week, yeah.
Yeah, it's not gonna be resolved by then. Okay, revaluation update. The letters have been sent out to all of the real estate taxpayers. Interviews with appraisers will be scheduled for the week of July 17th. So anybody who wants to speak with the appraisers should call the town office next week when Parker Appraisal is here and make an appointment. Appointments are necessary to meet with Parker Appraisal. So they're available to speak about property assessment. They will not engage taxpayers about their tax bill or the mill rate, because that's driven by the budget. So it will be anything to do with their property assessment. And if people have surveys or recent appraisals or anything else that they wanted to supply to the appraiser, that would be very helpful. A couple of weeks ago, our hot water tank let go. This was on the weekend. Thankfully, the cleaning crew was here, and they alerted us right away. So John came and responded immediately. And MMA was notified for insurance purposes. The carpet had to be removed from the room down here. So,
Any documentation or anything damaged? Any papers that we have down here?
oh no, everything is fine. So, Servpro was called. They mitigated some of the damage, and we're gonna see about getting new flooring moving forward. I just wanted to let you know about that. Ellis installed a new hot water tank. That's all I have.
Do we have a water sensor on it?
I don't know.
We should do that with our alarm system. Because if something like that breaks and we're not here,
Okay.
So if something does happen here, do we have a policy and procedures? I mean, if they were here, so who did they call?
They called me.
Okay.
but if a water sensor would trigger an alarm, like a fire alarm, and we'd be notified, we'd be called in that situation, we should have a water sensor.
But that's one situation, what about in other situations?
I get notified if the alarm goes off. Usually, I don't know what does it. I get this message that the alarm has gone off, that everything's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Law enforcement was not called,
Are you called too, Christine?
Yeah.
but I'm,
They called me because they had my number.
No, but if the alarm goes off, you
Yeah.
get the call that happening is.
yeah.
Yeah.
And, I've been getting a call since I was chair and because I live close. Unless you want it.
Anything else, Christine? Future agenda items.
Well, on the correspondence, I'm curious about the letter from Senator Collins on the 1.75 million. Is it, from the EMS perspective, is that part of the Saginaw communications? I can't read, unfortunately, the letter goes off on either side.
Yeah, it was a little off. The city of Bath wants to build a new fire station. So they went through, they applied for the congressionally directed spending to help pay for that new fire station. The chief came to me for a letter of support, so I provided a letter of support since we're a mutual aid town. And that's the response from Senator Collins' office.
So this is in the category of pork barrel spending?
I suppose.
So where are we with the communication tower? Have we figured out where that falls on?
I don't have an update yet.
Because we've essentially allocated that same spot to two different people.
Right.
Well, and
They're working on it. I know there have been conversations. I've been on vacation, so I haven't been around much.
as the legislature finalized what it is that they were doing about
It was the DOT entrance was the big
the
piece.
solar farms, that they have built. Has anything been done about that? I'm not up on that at this point. I've been on vacation too.
Yeah.
I know
Nothing I can speak on
left
tonight.
without settling a lot of bills.
Yeah.
But we should probably figure out, because I know that EMS is, or the communication tower is a priority. And that just made me think of it, seeing the fire station. Maybe request, if they heard on the DOT entrance off of the highway. Because if that's not gonna happen, that may alter where they wanna go.
Understood.
And that way we can figure the next step out also. Because we're kind of caught between those, in theory, two tenants in one location.
I don't think you'll be able to allow it. That's my opinion. I've seen a lot of different people ask for different things and they just.
Yeah, but for EMS, the EMS tower,
Oh, it's gonna be tough because there's other locations just not from us there. Brunswick's pretty close,
well, Brunswick wanted to hang on this tower.
so they can hang for the long time. Are we ready? Future agenda items.
We didn't have any.
Yeah,
Next, yeah, we need to choose the meeting date first.
right, and we also on the next one, we were gonna talk about a town planner.
Oh,
I
okay.
would still like to do that.
Sure.
Because I think we need one. So, we got through this, and I'm gonna be honest with you, we didn't think we would. So we thought we were gonna have to meet again. You thought maybe we could wait if we got through this till the.
Well, it depends what kind of schedule you want to be on. If you want to have a meeting next week and then a meeting at the end of the month, that would probably be preferable. But if you want to take a break, you can wait until the end of the month. I can't quite see the dates.
27th, so 13, 20, 27.
That would be, and then when would the August meeting be? I don't,
I guess our meeting would be.
August meetings are the 3rd and the 17th.
I plan my life around the 1st and 3rd, so I'm good with keeping it the way that it is.
Suzanne, any?
I am not traveling in September, so it makes no difference to me.
So it's not like the 20th?
Yeah, we can, it's just Carly won't be here.
You want to do another night?
I'm
She won't be here all week.
missing a meeting.
She has her clerks institute that week.
Oh, good. So if we, and we're all
Is that your
on,
scholarship?
we're all on tape so we can get the minutes and all
Right,
that
yeah.
kind of stuff, so.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's fine, if you want to continue with that, that's
Next meeting, July 20th,
okay.
same back station.
So, town planner, and then we're going to have the bid policy,
And a bunch of abatements.
abatements. There is going to be a window bid.
Is that when they go to the window and hold up their bids? Just kidding.
So I'm looking at also the, and then we can talk about it at the next meeting, we had the new state mandate for town-owned assets acquired. The town has about 25 assets that we own, including the cemeteries. What are we doing with the land that's not in use?
I don't know, what do we do about the land that's not in use? That's the select board's call.
It's really the town's call. And there's several parcels
We're,
that have value that we should
Well,
discuss.
Right, but in order for the town to decide on anything, the select board needs to put something forward. so.
the town meeting granted the select board the authority to deal with tax.
Well, it's actually a state, I was reading a state mandate in the preamble on how it's to be disposed of.
Any of the properties that are currently owned by us, it's not retroactive. Those are right. So nothing, we don't have.
It's how you sell it, it's not, it has nothing to do with the record, we have to follow the sales protocols from the state.
From here on out.
I'm not sure about that.
It's not intended to be retroactive. Wasn't how we read it.
Anything that we've acquired as a town,
Well, it does lay out the process pretty clearly. at least 90 days prior to listing a tax acquired property for sale, the municipality must provide written notice by certified and first-class mail to the former owner. Former owner has 90 days from notification to file a written demand that the municipality use the alternative sale process. The alternative sale process is the same process that went into effect for seniors, that returns the profit to the property owner, rather than allowing the town to keep it. So, this isn't the complete process for disposing of tax acquired property, but it covers the new law, the new legislation.
Julie, you've been pretty good and right on top of those. Do you know any that we're ready to move on?
I started researching some of them. There's 5, I don't have the information.
I mean, we have a lot that we foreclosed on years ago,
Yeah,
but, a handful that was Baybine, that's up behind, like, the radio station, right?
There's no access to them.
Yeah, no access to those in there.
But I think we should look at-
ATV uses those.
I think we should look and see if they received an easement to access those parcels. That easement passes with the ownership of the land. So whether they claim they don't have access, they may actually do have access through a land easement. And we should do a little research before we just sit on
I'm
some
sure
land.
they would have built something, or sold the land if they had an easement.
I believe it was all landlocked, it's been
Yeah.
looked into.
The family, our family has lots out there, and there's no way to get to them legally.
Because I remember Bayvine saying that the land was of no value for him because he had no access.
Yeah.
Right.
There's several lots out there, number one. That's it.
And you donated to the town if the town put claim in deeds.
It would be, I think they, well, still, there's no easements, nobody in. I mean, it'd be nice for hiking trailers, but again, there's no way.
I'll do a little research.
I thought there was a law that there's no such thing as a landlocked.
There is a lot, and there's also easement, there are some, I think we should just look into it. Because it's some 30 some odd acres all abutting each other collectively, that would make sense for the town to consider, if we have access to it.
You always ask the abutters if they want to acquire it, just get it back on the tax rolls.
That would be something.
I mean, I'm looking at, how we got
Those letters.
all of these increased taxes, if we can show some due diligence back to our community that we're trying to.
It would also be nice to have some green space and not be all houses and.
Yes.
Yeah, but then we have to grant access to the town to get there, which is okay. I'm not opposed to that either, but just sitting on it isn't necessarily the best alternative for the community.
Doesn't do it in harm either. Gives us.
Research.
I move we adjourn.
Second. Want to adjourn, Julie?
No, I wanted to have an executive session with
You do?
You really? Oh,
yeah,
Have a good night.
and Christine.
Steve, do you have time tomorrow?
Yep.
You can stop by. I have a meeting between 9:30 and 10:30.
Do you want Carly here or not?
Any other time than that,
You have a meeting right now?
between 9:30 and 10:30.
So probably,
do you have the language to move into executive session?
get in.
Yeah, that'd be fine. Thank you.
Do you have the language to move into executive session?
Yes, move to enter executive session pursuant to 1 MRS, Chapter 13, subsection 4056A, to discuss a personnel matter.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Someone say so.
So moved.
So move.
Well, unanimous